All right, welcome to another Saturday morning episode of A Soccer Fan Walks Into a Bar. We have Diego here, we have Aaron beside me, and we are fully recovered, hopefully, from another heat wave,
Oh yeah.
torrential downpours, hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes, the whole
Let's
nine.
go. See?
So anyway, happy August, everyone. How we doing this week?
Doing good, doing good. How about you?
Oh no, yeah, excellent. And I know it was torrential rain and it was cataclysmic stuff, but I loved it. It
Yeah.
cooled everything down so much, man. I was just sitting out there like this.
So I
It
was
was like
joke-
hit or miss, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was
Yeah, it
joking
was
with
weird.
a couple of people. Like, I mean, I love the heat. Diego will tell you when it gets below 40, I'm done.
Oh yeah.
But I was joking with a couple of people. I'm like, I've never been so happy to put a pair of jeans on because as much as I like the heat,
It was like 50 degrees this morning.
I was physically cold this morning when I got up. So anyway,
a beauty.
lots of stuff going on. This is I'm trying to think. With the heat wave, we canceled our Monday show. So yeah, this is our first show
A
post
little bit. Yeah.
post MetLife Stadium adventure.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful time that we all had. Obviously on the heels of our event here, with Fletch and Bournemouth, we all, took a tour down to MetLife and watched both matches. Great atmosphere for us.
Absolutely.
We were giving out Bournemouth gear to anyone and everyone we could find wearing a Bournemouth shirt. We actually bumped into a lot of people that were at our event
yeah.
and just brewery regulars, which
Yeah.
was really cool. It's like we're hitting celebrity status here with the Soccer Fan Walks into a
Let's
bar. So
go.
Yeah, funniest thing I heard all weekend was the West Hammer players or the West Hammer fans going, where'd all these Bournemouth fans?
I know,
come
yeah,
from?
Oh my
What-
god.
yeah.
It was so yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And then we had that guy from Buffalo that recognized the Mega Boss can from across the parking lot.
That was incredible. No,
so-
it's a very feel good moment.
Oh,
to be
always,
100%
always.
with you. Like it makes me feel that it was a little bit important to represent Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean, even like Thursday night. Excuse me. For those of you that don't know, there are some wildfires still and terrible pollen count. So if you hear some coughing and sneezing, it's hitting all three of us here.
Yep.
But on Thursday night, after trivia, when Fletch was doing the meet and greet and taking pictures, it was so surprising to me. And we talked about this a little bit on Monday, but it's so surprising to me that like people wanted me in that photo with them. I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you thought? Me? Why?
He's the guy that everybody knows. Yeah,
So,
yeah, no.
But no, yeah, it's a cool feeling. The work that we've all been putting in the last 3+ years and a year and a half now with the podcast. It is a nice feeling to
Starting to
get
pay.
that recognition and see it happen. So, more importantly, let's get to the matters at hand rather. So we had some summer series matches. The Saturday games that we were at MetLife Stadium: Bournemouth 3, Everton 0. The first half honestly was a little shaky for Bournemouth. Everton, looked good out of the gate.
Yeah.
Iraola made some great halftime changes and 3 goals, 2 of which you could argue were Everton mistakes. But that's what preseason is all about, especially with everything else that goes into the schedule now. With obviously it was a Gold Cup year, so we had all that.
Yeah, no, there's too much soccer being played at the same
Premier
time.
League World Cup.
The Club World Cup, exactly. So yeah, a lot of moving parts. Everyone trying to now get on track for the World Cup next year. So definitely some trialing of things. Iraola seems to be trying a few new things. Obviously, they also lost several defenders, including Zabarni, now again rumored to be going to PSG. The second match, Man U through 2 Bruno goals, beat West Ham 2-1. And then midweek, they were all
They were
4
in
teams were out in Chicago.
In the windy city.
The wind and the rain. I don't know if any of you
It
guys
was
watched the
crazy.
matches or saw any of the
Yes,
post-match
it
stuff.
was
It
insane.
was, ponchos as far as the eye could see. The field was sloppy. The games were sloppy. West Ham defeated Everton 2-1. Man United 4-1 over Bournemouth, and it did not look good. But again,
It was a mess,
It-
man.
it-
That was what it was. It was like you were playing pickup on a Saturday night. That's kind of like how we felt that with the weather
Yeah.
and all that stuff. It was just I mean, entertaining to watch, but not for the reasons that we expect.
No,
for good football, but
for the
like
fanatics
expecting.
like the three of us, yes, it was a good watch. But outside of that,
It was horrendous
it was
because it
tough.
was just a mess. Yeah.
So, all right, so that will do it for our week abroad stuff. Obviously, they have their third set of matches in Atlanta on Sunday afternoon. 2:00 is Bournemouth West Ham, 5:00 Man U Everton. But we also have Leagues Cup to talk about. So for those of you that don't know, Leagues Cup is a competition between the MLS and Liga MX of Mexico. They put the teams into kind of pods, and then from there they have a standings table and to advance into the knockout stage. So NYCFC played, let me just grab my sheet here, I have all my notes. NYCFC played at quote unquote home at Red Bull Arena, or sorry, not Red Bull Arena anymore, Sports Illustrated Stadium in Harrison, New Jersey.
It's that new acquisition, huh?
Yes. Gotta chase those dollars. So at home they lost 3-0 to Puebla. Again, a match where they didn't look great. They looked completely out of sorts. You almost wonder, it was a very young squad. A lot of changes in there. And you almost wonder if Pascal Janssen and NYCFC care at all about the competition, etc.
Well, I think they're going to have to care a little bit because, I mean, I don't know if you saw the thing I sent, but like they're remodeling that entire tournament, and they're including 3 spots for the champions, the CONCACAF champions.
Yeah, but at the same token, I know CONCACAF wants to make it a successful tournament. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. It's not going to be UEFA Champions League.
Of course.
It's not going to be Copa Libertadores.
No. Definitely closer to Libertadores than it will be to UEFA, but but not on the same level. You're right.
There's a significant number of teams in the MLS that don't put out their first squads for CONCACAF Champions Cup matches either. So until we get to that point, yes, great. There are 3 spots available. But if the teams don't want to take that tournament seriously either, what is the point? So,
I mean, it makes you think, what are they going to have to do to get that? What steps do they have to take to get that league to that point?
Well, I think part of the problem, it's a twofold problem. I think more prize money obviously would help
a ton,
incentivize teams. But for the MLS, prize money doesn't, not that it doesn't help, but it doesn't add to your roster budget because of the MLS salary rules.
Oh, yes, you're right.
So, MLS rosters are already thin enough compared to Liga MX and other, nations. So by adding this other competition, it's doing the exact opposite of helping. It's a weird dynamic. We can go back to our, talks about Pro Rel. We can do all that, loosen up the salary cap rules.
One thing I think they might be helping, and that's not going to be when it comes to money, but interest. They're trying to guarantee that the knockout stages are going to be between Liga MX and the MLS. They're going to have 4 American teams and 4 Mexican teams and 2 American. No, it's going to be kind of like evenly split, and the matches themselves are going to be a team from Mexico, a team from USA, a team from Mexico, USA. Maybe, I don't know if there is a Canadian team. I think it might be.
Yeah.
So you're going to try to make sure that there is like that. It's not going to be just another MLS match, but it's going to be like that. And that's going to create some great storyline. So that it's one thing that I think they're doing okay with this. I mean, it's a convoluted setup that they have because the group stages are going to be a mess, but I think that's going to guarantee maybe a little bit of traffic, at least on internet and content creators and people like that. They're going to have a little bit of traffic in that. So that might create some more interest. I'm cautious about saying that, and definitely it's not going to save this tournament, but it will create something for the next, to be honest with you. I believe that, though.
I mean, it's tough to, pause the MLS season now and start this tournament. And
all right, that is true.
Yeah, it's just a very, if if they wanted to do it similar to, although then you're up against CONCACAF Champions Cup with it, but if it were sporadically throughout,
Yeah.
Maybe it would be a little bit more palatable. But
Yeah.
you lose all the league momentum.
Yeah, you're right.
To play in this tournament, and for all intents and purposes, the goal of every team in the MLS is to win MLS Cup.
Yeah, not
to take a month off from the MLS season and play in this
tournament,
fabricated tournament.
Yeah,
that now has a merit of 3 Champions Cup spots.
Yeah,
but
that's an incentive for the middle of the table teams. Like your Honduras teams, Salvadorian teams, like those teams are the ones that are going to be trying to kill each other to win this tournament. So,
but they're not in this tournament. That's the thing. This is just the U.S.,
Mexico, and stuff.
Just MLS.
So, low tier Mexican teams are the ones that are going to benefit.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. It's just, and also to the detriment of U.S. Open Cup. Some of these teams are not participating because they're playing in Leagues Cup and they played in CONCACAF Champions Cup. So it's, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I think MLS and Liga MX in this partnership, and maybe rightfully so, see that there is money out there to be made, and they're just kind of throwing the proverbial spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't like the format. Again, just like I said about the Club World Cup, am I going to watch the games? Yes, I'm going to watch the
games. They're going
to
be on anyways.
If it works with my schedule, am I going to go to the games that are local? Yes. Do I like it? No. So
I think it also falls back on the fact that there's a lot of soccer going on.
Yeah,
there's just so much soccer going on, whether it's a new cup or a new.
Well, and now, not to interrupt you and hijack your point, but you made a great point there. What do we do now next year with the World Cup?
Yeah,
all these things are going to have to stop.
All right. I mean, they can't do the Leagues Cup next year, can they?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
The MLS season is going to come to a halt.
Right. So, what do you do?
Yeah, no, between the rock and a hard place. Yeah, it's like you said, they're going to just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall, man. They're going to come up with another tournament.
Maybe they'll make it a winter tournament next year. And nothing would surprise me anymore. But anyway. All right. So Puebla defeats NYCFC 3-0. Chivas de Guadalajara came also to play Red Bull, and a 98th minute free kick from Emil Forsberg gave a 1-0 victory to the Red Bulls. So good for them. And again, like we are waxing poetic about Forsberg and Choupo-Moting. Red Bull are going as far as those two will take them.
We'll take them 100%.
And honestly, it's you could pick a worse strategy to get to either a Leagues Cup final or an MLS Cup final, because
from the sounds of it, it's taking them to the end of the season.
Yeah,
those two staying at the end of the season, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, we'll see. I mean, they made MLS Cup final last year.
Yeah.
They gave up 2 early goals, and it was kind of done and dusted before it started. But this thing is working.
Oh yeah.
It's got legs, and honestly, it's going to rely on the legs of Forsberg and Choupo-Moting, I think.
And they should be all right. They're class players, though.
They are, and they're, they are 2 players that, yes, they came over from Europe, but they're not your traditional, retirement age type players, mid-30s.
No, they're younger. So they're
they are still in their physical prime, which hopefully will go a little bit longer.
Hey, who knows? Maybe we have a Guiñac situation, like he did in Mexico, and they just decide to stay in America just because they like America.
Yeah.
That would be a sweet thing. I mean, we've talked about Guiñac a couple of times. That never stopped him from being part of the French national team. He played in Mexico his entire career, but he was a great player, and the French team recognizes him. Maybe it will be the same with these guys.
I actually saw him play in Leagues Cup last year.
Yeah,
and they love him in Mexico.
Oh, dude, he is a god down there. He truly is. For a French national, for a foreigner, Mexicans are very territorial, especially when it comes to their soccer. And especially if it's I mean, let's not stir history here, but especially for a Frenchman,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like that's a whole different level of messes over in Mexico. But for him to be that loved and for him to show that commitment and loyalty to a country that he didn't have to, it's amazing.
Right.
So us having those two players here, maybe that would be a thing that would be interesting. You know
No,
what I mean?
it would be cool to see
Something to build off of.
more European players
Make the decision.
put down roots
Yeah.
here in the U.S.
And that's the goal. I think that might be what changes the
Yeah.
situation when it comes to this to Americans, soccer.
Yeah.
Having younger players commit to here, stay here, and then their fans from overseas are going to start kind of not flocking because that's not going to happen, but make it more relevant at least.
Yeah. Well, beyond that, NYCFC had their second group stage match last night. They did beat James and Club Leon 2-0.
No.
Yeah, James
They
did
need to get out of here.
I knew some people that went to the game. Obviously, I was not able to make it. But a lot of people, by many accounts, said James was just kind of loafing around.
He was lost.
I don't know. It was James to Leon more of a Club World Cup thing, which they eventually got ousted from by excuse me, by FIFA with that whole
think
with the whole Grupo Pachuca thing, is this just, or does he feel like
no,
it's
it's
just an extra tournament that there's no reason to be
no,
a part
I
of?
believe it's him. He's a very temperamental player, and he was very outspoken when he came to the Club World Cup. And because of that, he, like you said, I think he feels that the team, because if you were what do you call that when you're not sent somewhere? Well, when you were ousted, like you said, they don't seem these tournaments just as important. So they were like, well, if you didn't let me compete on that one, who gives a crap about this one? You know what I mean? And that's kind of like where they are right now. I watched some Mexican pundits talking about it, and that's literally what it was. The interviews, the players were the same way. They're like, yeah, why are we playing on this one and didn't get to play on the other one? So whatever, who cares? So it's a tough situation for them, but it shouldn't be like that. Like, you're a team, you got fans, especially Leon. Leon is a team that's coming up. They have very successful seasons.
And there were plenty of Colombia and Leon jerseys in the stands.
Exactly. So you don't do it for yourself, you do it for them. I was kind of upset about what they did. Yeah, that was not fair for the fans. You're paying top dollar here, whether you want to or not. You're paying way more than you will pay in Mexico to go watch a Leon game. You got to give them something more than they did.
All right. Well, with that, we have what's on tap. 3 matches coming up tomorrow. We already spoke about the Atlanta matches. So that's Bournemouth West Ham at 2 p.m. on Sunday, followed by Man United Everton at 5. And then the late night, I believe, I have to look, but I believe this is also at Sports Illustrated Stadium, Sunday at 8:30, Monterrey and Red Bulls for their second group stage match.
Yeah.
So that should be another interesting one. Obviously, Red Bulls already have the 3 points ahead of them, or I guess I should say behind them. So this would go, a victory or even a draw would go a long way for them.
Oh yeah, they should
to advance into the knockouts. Monterrey obviously is a famous, historic team with a history and track record of success in Liga MX.
Yeah.
They will obviously look to, and I'm trying to think now. They were in the Club World Cup as well.
Yes,
right?
they were.
With Sergio Ramos.
Yes, they were, sir.
So it'll be another, powerhouse team, coming, and we'll see. Let me check what did they do last round. Do we know? Do we know how Monterrey did in the first?
How much? No, not at all. Again, like you said, that is one of those things that we're not really paying attention to this tournament right now.
Let's see. So Monterrey, where are we? August. They lost 3-2 to Cincinnati. 3-2 loss to Cincinnati. So they will be looking to chase down some points here as well. So it'll be a good test for Red Bulls there with that.
Yeah, Monterrey is a good team though.
Yeah.
They do have a good squad. They are a strong, competitive team. So this is gonna be a bigger test than the other one, I think. But they got it. Red Bull right now, it's like you said, they're playing behind their two strikers, and those guys, for the moment, have no way to be stopped. So that's gonna be a great situation, a great test for future tournaments and all the things that are happening, throughout the year on Mexican American soccer.
Yeah, no. You nailed it there. You know, I want the Mexico, or I should say, I want the Liga MX, MLS stuff to continue growing.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if this is the right way. Obviously it's tough with just the disparity, because once you get beyond US, Mexico, and
A little bit
and
again.
Canada because of MLS,
Yeah.
once you get beyond that, there is a significant drop off with club teams in other countries. Not to say that a Saprissa or some of these clubs, obviously they can play,
Yes.
they can hang,
But it's only one.
but it's few
in
and
every
far
country.
between. And
Exactly.
even then, when it is the powerhouse team of Costa Rica, it's once every few years that they make that run. So
100%.
picture, to relate it to like Champions League, picture England and Germany being one league, and Spain, France, and Italy being another league. Like,
yeah.
all right, so that's it. Now, what's the next
What are we doing
what's the
next?
next
Yeah,
level?
yeah, exactly.
So
You're 100% right too. That's a situation that happens. The drop off is too great, but it's just locally. We got to start doing the things locally, making sure that those teams get involved, they get enough exposure, the
Yeah.
market will grow, and we cannot gauge it based on what happens in the rest of the world. Like we think, or I not agree. I am on the same boat. Like the conception of these leagues are based on what they think of us on the other side of the
Yep.
pond, basically. Well, no, why? Screw it. Let's focus on ourselves. Let's stop watching fucking Spanish leagues and English Premier Leagues. I mean, please don't. No,
We're
I'm
not
just
gonna stop
saying here.
watching. Yeah.
I'm just talking right now. But let's just start focusing up on the local stuff. Fuck it. Let's just
Yeah, I also
start following teams. Let's pick a team and just
I have this conversation with a
do
lot of
it.
people. Is MLS the ultimate in player quality and match
No.
quality? No. Doesn't mean you can't be a fan of it still, even while watching the Premier League,
Yeah.
while watching the World Cup,
Exactly.
while watching all this other stuff.
Because that one of my favorite things, and I mean it's silly to say, but when I was a young boy many decades ago, I used to love to go to the soccer field of my neighborhood and just watch the amateur tournaments.
Yeah.
Man, everybody in the neighborhood went and watched, and they were just random guys, bellies out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
old Sunday League
Yes,
football.
Sunday League footballers. But it was entertaining because it was the people you knew. You got access to these people. You could interact with them. You kind of like develop this ownership towards a team that you have nothing to do with. There was no money involved. You still loved it. I know that's very poetic and very difficult to do, but that's what we should try to do here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's I don't know how, I guess every team needs to start getting way more involved with their communities or something along those lines, but it needs to happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way we grow this, taking ownership, but as individuals, not as a big league, as a country in general, but like every single town or every single city is to pick a team and let's go with it.
Again, the big issue too is just that, like, it kind of falls on like the if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You've got those long-standing leagues across the sea that have been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
They've been here for so long. They've sort of figured out the way to do it. And I really feel the problem with the MLS is just everybody just sees it as a business to get more views,
Exactly.
to get more money, to get more TV time.
Exactly. There is
And
love over it.
instead of making it a actual competition, you're turning it into just a showbiz.
Yeah.
And like, again, the one of the weirdest things that you got to think about is nobody thinks about having the best record in the league, right?
No.
In every single league out there, you
try
want to
be
have the
top.
best record to win the cup, right?
Yep.
In the MLS, it's I just got to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
We
I just got
talked about it all the time. We said it all the time. You're right.
It's rough. It's rough to watch because there's times where I would love to sit down and watch an MLS match, and the moment I turn it on, I'm like, I feel like I'm watching college. I feel like I'm watching
Yeah.
high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it also doesn't help that I don't know it off the top of my head. I think 9 teams from each division make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
So
basically everybody.
And
you're
they're
looking at-
adding more teams.
yeah,
So are they going to expand the playoffs to 12, like
yeah,
to almost the whole league? Like,
the last three get out. That's
if
it.
they did an FA Cup style, that would be pretty cool, where all teams play each other, right? And then it's
Yeah.
a knockout
You
bracket.
see
That's
that
cool.
right there.
Which-
Yeah.
so that they do that with the U.S. Open Cup. My problem with the U.S. Open Cup is, and part of it is just the geography of the U.S., but it's regionalized.
Yeah.
So you'll never see a Red Bulls NYCFC final.
Mhm.
You'll never see a Seattle Portland final. You'll
No,
never see-
they have to mix it up.
You'll
Yeah.
never see a Galaxy LAFC final.
Yep.
And the same for the MLS now, because they have the Eastern and Western division. I mean, obviously we were all there. I've the amount of Milan derbies I've seen both in league and Champions League. The Madrid derby for a Champions League final.
Yeah.
When Bayern played Dortmund in a Champions League final, Chelsea, who did Chelsea? Man City. All these, local, obviously Manchester and Chelsea are not that close, but within their own league, to see these derby type matches, nobody wants, and I shouldn't say nobody wants to see it in a quarterfinal, but you want that to be a final. You want any potential matchup to be possible. Not okay. I know and it's almost always it's Hudson Valley Hammers, Red Bulls, NYCFC, Cosmos now that they're coming back, and Hartford Athletic. I feel like it's
And that's it.
FC Motown. It's the same 5 or 6 clubs that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut area that are always going to play in the first couple rounds.
Yeah.
And it loses some of the allure. Obviously, I know travel is expensive, especially for the lower league teams.
Yes.
but
Yes.
that's something else that needs to be fixed with that.
Listen, I'll just end it with this and the fact that I'm just a guy from Newburgh, but the best thing the MLS could do is combine it into one. Combine it into one and maybe separate it into 2.
I would even be open to I think they call it
You're right.
the Swiss league style, where if you had instead of play everyone once or twice, and then at the halfway point, 2/3 point, whatever it is, take the top 12 teams, make it a league. Take the rest, make it a league. Kind of somewhat similar to what the new league phase in Champions League is.
Okay.
going to.
Yeah. I see.
But yeah, to keep it East and West, I'm starting to grow tired of it. Especially with the access we have to all these other great leagues.
Yeah, I understand it being an American sport and want to keeping them all similar, but again, it just doesn't work for some.
It does
And
not work.
not only that, but I don't think an American sports fan that is getting into MLS is put off by if it were not a divisional league.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an issue. In fact, I there's been calls within baseball now that both leagues have the designated hitter to
just makes it out.
Just makes it up more.
all together. Yeah. And that's the thing. Soccer doesn't present itself to do the same formats as American sports. So first of all, because there is ties, there's so many reasons. And yes, there is sometimes in some American sports, you could do these things, but it's just not the same concept of a tie as it is in soccer. A tie, it's way more relevant. All these situations are more relevant.
Think about it, the NHL and the MLS
Yeah.
essentially have the same structure.
Yeah.
But nobody cares who won best record, which again, everywhere else is the biggest
the
trophy.
biggest
in the
situation.
NHL, it's like kind of a kiss of death actually to win the President's Cup, I believe it's called, and then try to make it through the playoffs with that.
Well,
because-
think about basketball, right? You have the best record, you win nothing.
Yeah.
And then you go into the playoffs, and because you've won and you put your hardest into that season, you're tired, right?
Yeah.
You saw it with, I mean, everybody harps on it, but the what was it, the Golden State Warriors
Yes.
when they went, what was it, 73?
Oh, when they won a bunch of games.
and they won a bunch of
lost
games, and
Yeah.
all they got from it was a loss in the
in
semifinals.
the final.
yeah.
Yeah, still.
Yes.
So like,
You're right. And that, and that's another thing that is coming along, the whole overexertion of players and everything like that. So if we're talking about that, having just one series of games, go race to the top. Top team wins it all. Second teams do whatever you want with them, price them however you want. It reduces the games. It controls the schedule a lot more, and it will help out all these other tournaments that are coming up. All these
Right.
CONCACAF based situations that you're doing. That one is easy. There is no playoffs. You just play your 32, 40 games that you want to play on a tournament. You still get your money's worth.
If you still want to play, if you still want to play off, make the season. Don't take the top 8 from each. Right. Make the season one cup. Winner gets it. Then when that's over, instead of doing just a 8-8 playoff, do an FA Cup.
Yeah.
32 plays 30, whatever it is. 32 plays 1. 31 plays 2.
And then
bring them all in. That way you'll have 2 different cups. You have whoever won the one, and then you have a second cup that's like, okay, even though we didn't win the main one, we can fight to get the next.
Yeah, that almost reminds me more of like we have in England, where you have obviously the league, and then you have, because we have the US Open Cup, which is open to MLS as well as all up and down the US pyramid. But then you also have kind of like a Carabao Cup situation. You have multiple cups, which, again, depending on who you talk to in England, it's too much there as well. But again, we could go around in circles for a week and a half with this. So yeah, I think it needs to be adjusted. We'll see what the World Cup season, because there's still talks about going back to the a traditional calendar, with the MLS to the fall and spring. We'll see what that brings up. But
I do have one more thing for the MLS, and I think it's going to get we're starting to see some rough waters. Is Messi's not happy, right? And that's their golden goose.
He did just re-up. I believe he signed through 2028. And then honestly, that's a perfect segue. Let's get into one for the road. I actually have 2 for the road. World Cup winner Rodrigo de Paul from Atleti has agreed to sign for Inter Miami. Obviously, he is a national team teammate of Messi's, so it's a great segue. He even just came out and said that a big part of the negotiations was talking with Leo Messi. So, is he a little bit past his prime for the athleticism needed for the MLS? I think so, but we'll see what happens. He's on the field, kind of the on-field enforcer for Messi, with Argentina. So it'll be an interesting dynamic to see how he jives with. Obviously, with Messi, he'll be fine, but with the other, former Barcelona players, with Suarez, with Jordi Alba, with Sergio Busquets,
there is a little bit of heat between them.
Yeah. But, we'll see. Messi and Sergio Ramos at PSG was
get
fine.
Pretty well. Yeah,
so,
you're right.
And they were sworn enemies for the better part of a decade at Barcelona and Real Madrid. So, and then the other one that just broke yesterday afternoon or evening, I believe. Son Heung-min did announce at a press conference that he will be leaving Tottenham.
He says deuces.
He said, I gave it my all.
This summer, not even just like, hey, I'm not here forever. Like this summer, which for all intents and purposes is the next week or two.
Yeah.
He is heavily being rumored to go to LAFC. So another huge coup potentially for the MLS.
Huge. That's the big signing of the.
Yeah, but he's what, 33 now, right?
No, I don't think so.
Well, they said he came to Tottenham at 23 and he spent 10 years there.
Oh,
right?
I thought.
How old is son?
But but the beautiful thing of that is, and we were talking about it off camera and everything, he did give it his all though.
You're right. He
did do whatever he could.
33 last year. Where he was in Germany before that. Where was he? Bayer Leverkusen and then Hamburg before that. 333 appearances, 127 goals,
1 trophy
for Spurs.
Tough, man.
Hey,
so that's what he wanted to do. He said,
Aaron, who won the last match between Tottenham and Arsenal?
Oh, Tottenham did 1-0. Yeah.
Actually,
they got a consolation prize about this big.
That actually, I believe that was the first North London derby outside of England.
Yeah.
So Hong Kong, that both teams were out in the Far East.
Yeah, I saw flashbacks of Ramsdale and Riot. It was great.
Yeah.
I was at the sporting game.
Yeah.
where Raya was like 30 yards outside of the box, and
Oh my
Sporting
God.
scored to take them out of the Europa.
That
So it was good flashbacks.
And I can't
good
believe it.
flashbacks. You say.
In 10 whole minutes, no goals from Jokic.
No, yeah,
So
10 minutes. Yeah,
I think they need-
everybody needs to sell him.
I think they
Gotta
need
go.
to unload Jokic, send
That-
him back to the championship. You know what? Brighton would love to have him back.
hey, listen, that won't be a bad thing. The prodigal son comes back.
No.
All right. So anyway, that
No, but good for Son though.
Yeah,
To be honest,
yeah,
with you.
I
feel good for
I
him.
do think that if he winds up going to LAFC, that would be huge for them. Not only do I still think he's got a lot left in the tank, even though he's
Yes.
been playing a long time. Obviously the Korean and Asian culture on the West Coast.
Oh, it's huge.
That would be
Yeah.
a very great commercial acquisition for them if it winds up
100%.
coming true. And it keeps bringing good quality players into the MLS.
And that's the bottom line. Start getting that trend going. And again, they might start leaking into younger players.
Right.
They see that there is a possibility. Now they have all these people that they idolize. And to be honest, soccer players, we're whimsical, man. If we have an idol that all of a sudden calls us up and is like, yo, you want to come down this way and play with me for a couple of years?
Yeah.
We're gonna say yes. You know what I mean? It's like, hell yeah. Do I get to play with Messi for a couple of years? I know he's old and everything, but who cares? It's Messi. I'm right there. Easy money. Let's go.
All right.
So
any other notes you guys got?
I shout out to Colombia, man. They are playing the women national team is playing the finals of the
Copa America Femenina.
Copa America Femenina. Yes, it's happening today at 5. So, shout out to the girls. I personally love you all. You guys are putting up with a lot of crap in the past couple of years. Referees have been tough to you guys, but class is all, man. And you guys got this. Let's win this Copa America. We failed in the World Cups, but, we're still there. We're good. So let's go, ladies.
So I'm just looking up. So the last tournament in 2022 was also a Brazil.
They're runner-ups. Yeah, they've been runner-up 4 years, man. So hopefully this is the year.
All right.
This is the year, guys.
You heard it here. Let's root for the
yeah, please.
What are they?
Las Cafeteras.
Yeah, but so it's just the same nickname, but
same
on
for the women.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, son los guys say Las Cafeteras. Come on, ladies.
Perfect. Let's do it. All right, that's gonna do it for us. Obviously, we're all over the place with some of these weird summer shows until listen, 2 weeks and we're back. 2 weeks until you're.
I'm ready for it, dude. I'm here.
We'll be here Friday, August 15th, 3 p.m. Bournemouth at Liverpool to kick off.
It's all happening, baby.
25-26 season. So
it's all happening.
The countdown is now. So thank you for listening. Give us a follow, subscribe on YouTube, throw us a follow on Instagram, on Facebook, join the Discord. What else we got going on? I think that satisfies all our social. Share, like, subscribe.
Yeah, let's grow this community, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and help get us to another party with Bournemouth or any other club.
Yep.
You guys want to watch more games?
Helps us get to 100. 100
start
is the
a
first
supporters
goal.
club. We need you to help. So thank you for listening. We will see you next week, and enjoy the cooler weather.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.